Carolyn Levitt said
Governor Pritzker just called for mass protests and disruption, saying Republicans cannot know peace, while Trump's border crossings are down 95% and ICE locking up 800 criminals. Is Pritzker inciting insurrection, and will DOJ take action?
Well, what I would say is that his comments, if nothing else, clearly could be rooted inside of violence. So President Trump survived two assassination attempts against his life. Of course, there's been many more credible threats against President Trump and his family and associates. We've, of course, seen the spate of left-wing domestic terrorism all across the country. By the way, the destruction of property sits directly adjacent to attacks on humans and physical attacks. In other words, once you tolerate and once you allow for attacks on property, you're just a step away from people throwing Molotov cocktails into people's Molotov cocktails. And you've even seen some, I think one example, a formerly prominent Washington Post journalist who seemed to be celebrating the murder of a healthcare CEO, right? Health insurance CEO. And that's what we've reached in this country, where people are engaging in rhetoric and behavior that puts the lives of public servants in danger, puts the lives of conservative Americans in danger. So that's the first thing I would say. And then, secondly, right, just this war that Democrat governors and mayors are waging against federal law enforcement. I mean, this is null fixation of the behavior. This is protectionist behavior. They're saying they don't recognize the supremacy of federal law enforcement to protecting the lives and livelihoods of American citizens against a foreign invasion. Never seen anything like it. And of course, the result of their conduct is that they're allowing illegal aliens to go free and rape and murder. I can't imagine having a leader in a city or a state that would privilege the well-being of illegal alien murderers over their own citizens, but that's where we are right now.
Mr. Miller, I'd like to ask you about it's before Congress right now, the Religious Workforce Protection Act. I don't know if you're familiar with that, but basically Catholic leaders support it because they say it would help keep foreign-born priests at their local ministries in the United States. The problem right now is a 2023 change to U.S. visa rules caused a backlog, and long story short...
I have to take a look at that and get you a more complete answer. Okay. I'm not in a position to answer that right now. I apologize.
Bottom line is, can the administration do anything right now?
I have to take a look at that and give you a fully informed answer.
The lawyer for this woman who had two U.S. citizen children who was deported, he said that once she was put on a plane within 24 hours after she was gone. Is this case being rushed to avoid due process, to avoid court hearings?
Were you familiar? Are you familiar with the case in question?
To the extent that, yes, I am. I'm sure you are.
So this person has had years of due process. In other words, the case that you're referring to are individuals who have already received all of their due process, including a final adjudication of their claims and an order to be removed from the country. In other words, they've been in the system for years. We've been told for years that individuals who have been freed, remember, the Biden administration freed illegal aliens at the border, and then instead created a system where they're supposed to go through what's called the non-detained docket. That's when your case is heard for relief while you are living free. We've been told for years and years and years, no, it's not catch and release. It's not catch and release. They're going to show up to get their hearings. They're going to show up to ICE. They're going to go through the process, and when they lose, they're going to go home. Well, we did the go home part. They lost the case. It's been fully adjudicated. They have a lawful removal order, and so they've been sent home. That's literally the process the previous guys told us and Congress, that Mayorkas told Congress was going to happen. That when you lose the case, you go home. If people who lose their cases get to stay, that's not due process. That's just the complete suspension of all of our immigration laws and national sovereignty. And of course, by the way, we're going to respect parental rights. When you're deporting an illegal alien and they want to bring their kids with them when they leave, of course we're not going to stand in the way of that. Now, I would say as a separate note, it's absurd as a country that we have a policy of declaring the children of illegal aliens to be automatic citizens. That doesn't even come up in this case because it's not relevant to the point that the mother wanted to bring her children with her. And of course, we will honor and respect them.
So, question on deportations and the number of deportations. Are you
Where does the administration stand in considering the travel bans at this point? And then following up on the previous question, can you guarantee that migrants who are held in detention facilities have access to legal counsel as they're enacting these immigration policies?
Well, on the first point, is still under consideration. We'll have an update when we have an update. And then on the second point, illegal aliens will be given access to exactly what they're entitled to under current laws and court rulings. No more and no less. Obviously, this administration's view that illegal aliens should be able to be deported swiftly and quickly, and it should be as simple as, are you lawfully in the United States? No. If you are not, then you should go home. Like, in a sane country, that would be the system. If you know that a person trespassed illegally in your property, you send them out of your property that quickly. Now, there are a lot of court rulings and other systems that have been put into place that slow things down, but we're going to move as fast as we possibly can to get illegal aliens out of our country.
Mr. Miller, regarding the raid in Colorado Springs this weekend, do you have the nationality? Because, I mean, against CDA and MS-13, but do you know if there were Colombians around? They found a really popular drug in Colombia, which is called to see the pink cocaine. Do you know if there were Colombians?
It's a great question. I don't have the nationalities available for you right now.
Are you pleased with this pace of the deportations?
The number of Africans involved in all of it is a lot, but there is no Africans.
With respect to which question?
The deportation of illegal people.
Well, I mean, it includes everyone who came illegally in the last number of years.
But in terms of percentage, is a lot of Africans? Or
I don't have the exact percentage in terms of the breakdown, but it's certainly true that the flows of illegal immigration that came in the last 4 years included many from not only Central America, not only Mexico, but all of Latin America, and of course Africa, Asia, Middle East, basically everywhere but Antarctica.
Can you give us
an update on how the president's meeting with Speaker Johnson went?
The two judges or the media outrage over these judges that were arrested, and some of the outrage from Democrat lawmakers.
Yeah. I mean, if you commit a federal obstruction crime, you will go to jail. There are explicit, it's amazing to me how the left defines democracy as that Congress passes a law and then local officials should religiously violate those laws with no consequences. Congress passed a series of laws over the years, making it a crime to harbor, to smuggle, to evade, to obstruct, particularly and specifically in the context of immigration enforcement. So when you have a federal judge who engages in plain, direct, overt, intentional, or willful violation of those federal laws, of course they'll be arrested, and of course they belong to jail.
Do you know how Speaker
targeting violent criminals, worst of the worst? I'm not disputing any of the facts around the cases of these women who were deported, removed with their kids, but given you're looking for more money from Congress, ICE says they need more beds, they need more money. Is it the best use of the administration's resources to be going after moms of young kids, basically?
Do you yourself have an opinion on this subject?
I'm more interested in yours.
Well, what percentage of the, let's just take an even number, say, 10 million illegal aliens. Let's say that Biden released, I think it's closer to 20 million. Let's say he released 10 million illegal aliens into the country over the last 4 years. What percentage do you think we should let stay here of those 10 million?
I'm not trying to do a game show with you. I'm just curious if you think that's the best use of your limited dollars.
Is it your view that if a Democrat president releases 10, 15, 20 million illegals into the country, that they all then should get to stay forever and for all of life?
Stephen, I don't have a view about what Democratic presidents do. I'm asking what the Republican president you work for and how he wants to.
So you don't want to answer the question because you know the answer. It's obvious. Everyone that Biden let in has to go home. Of course. And it's a crazy thing to even ask. You think we should give administrative amnesty to some subset of the illegals?
I'm asking how you're prioritizing the work that
here's
your
how we're
administration
prioritizing.
is doing.
ICE is going to continue to focus on raid against private criminal aliens. We're going to use the entire force and power of the federal government to get them all home. Many will choose also to leave voluntarily and take advantage of the CBP's Home Act. But we are not going to ask taxpayers to subsidize the presence of a single illegal alien in this country. Here's another thing. Do you think that we have some sort of magic 8-ball to see which particular illegal aliens who skipped their hearings, which particular gotaways are going to go on to commit a rape or a murder? How do you explain to a parent in this country if you chose to release an illegal alien and they committed some heinous crime, why you chose to make that release? From a public safety standpoint alone, you cannot justify setting free a removable and deportable alien. Like in these recent cases, these are all illegal aliens who showed up at an ICE facility for a scheduled appointment. We'd be spending extra resources to set them free. They're already inside of the ICE facility. And think about that. Illegal aliens walked in. It's a very important point. Illegal aliens walked into an ICE facility and were taken into custody.
Could you imagine telling ICE officers to release illegal aliens who announce and present themselves at an ICE facility? Would any other law enforcement agency do that? If a wanted fugitive went into an FBI facility and announced themselves, would they be allowed to walk out the door that very afternoon? I mean, the whole thing's preposterous.
Steven, that might chill people showing up at a nice facility?
And all these people who've lost their lives at the hands of illegal migrants. And then you also have fentanyl, which is ravaging our communities, friends of mine and guys who fentanyl. So do you blame the Biden administration? Do they have blood on their hands?
Well, of course they do, but not just the Biden administration. Of course the Biden administration does. Also, all of their enablers do. Right? All of the radical left immigration groups and attorneys and NGOs who aided and abetted and supported the invasion. All the Democrat politicians in Congress, like Hakeem Jeffries, who aided, abetted, and supported the invasion, and Chris Murphy, and everyone in the media who knowingly lied and covered up about that invasion for 4 years. They all share in the atrocity, in the calamity. They all have blood on their hands and on their common soul. And nothing they ever say or do will ever earn them forgiveness for that, because of just how severe those violations were, how many people have died and suffered as a result. That's between them and their maker. But they'll be getting no forgiveness from me, I can promise you.
Steven, can you give an update? Steven.
It's the Trump agenda, and what can the administration do to overcome these challenges?
Well, it's simply put, it's a war on democracy. President Trump was elected on a mandate to secure the border, to stop the invasion, to send illegal aliens home. You cannot have a situation where one district court judge or a cabal of 10 or 15 district court judges who are radical left, sitting in strictly regional courtrooms, can conspire with each other to shut down the operations of the federal law enforcement company. That is not only antithetical to democracy, it is a direct form of tyranny in which the people of this country are being told that you cannot have the thing that you voted for, even when the thing that you voted for is required by law. All these individuals by law have no right to be here and must be sent home. None of the people that Biden let in have a legitimate asylum claim, have a legitimate claim to release, have any right or basis to be inside the United States. And now we see a move by the media to say that some subset of the 10, 15, 20 million illegals that Biden let in, who, knowing they're here illegally, choose to stay, choose to have children. But then we should take the view, oh, you beat the system, you trespass in our country, you failed to leave, you failed to comply with our laws, and now you've had a child, and now what, you get amnesty for life? And what we should ask, what, a laid-off worker in Ohio to now pay for welfare for your entire life? We should ask somebody who lost their job under a factory that closed down under Joe Biden to provide you with free education and free health care. You should wait an extra hour or 2 hours when your kid is sick in the emergency room because you have hundreds of illegals getting frontline care at an ER because they don't have health insurance, they don't have jobs, they don't have any savings. They're here to live off of us. But we should ask struggling Americans to pay for all of that. The whole thing is obscene and it's absurd. I can't even imagine how much time we spend debating how much generosity, how many billions of taxpayer dollars, how much amnesty, how many reprieves we should give to people who chose to come here illegally and take from us and our people. The whole conversation is absurd and offensive.
Steven, can you give an update on how the president's meeting with Speaker Johnson went today?
Not right now, yes.
How important is it to you to have public opinion on your side? Do you risk losing hearts and minds?
Well, even a CBS poll showed overwhelming public support for mass deportation. Support for deporting illegal aliens is overwhelmingly popular, as is shutting down welfare, as is removing criminal threats, as is dismantling foreign criminal gangs. This whole thing is just amazing to me. We have an entire media ecosystem, an entire political party devoted singularly to the defense and protection of illegal aliens in general and illegal alien criminals in particular.
A question about million deportations.
How satisfied are you of how the Mexican government deals with illegal immigration? Is this what is done enough in your mind?
Thanks to President Trump's leadership, the Mexican government's done more than it's ever done. But it's not even close to what we need and what the president expects. There's much more that we expect from Mexico, particularly in regard to the census threat.
Steven, the president
suggested there should be stipends for people who leave the country on their own.
Yes.
Is that still in the works?
Oh, absolutely.
Is there a cost estimate for how much that will cost? Will you need Congress to act on
Well,
that?
it'll actually save us hundreds of billions of dollars. So, a single illegal alien family, over the course of its lifetime, may cost the U.S. taxpayers over $1 million. So, when you give an illegal immigrant a check for, say, $1,000, $2,000, whatever it may be, $3,000 to leave the country, you're saving taxpayers hundreds of thousands of dollars. It also saves money relative to us having to go out and find that illegal alien and physically arrest them and deport them, which of course we will still do. So the plan that President Trump has put into place is very simple. If you choose to stay here unlawfully, you will be fined. And by law, that fine, by the law Congress has passed, is $1,000 each day you stay past your removal order. That's a law that Congress passed, a law that we're being told we should ignore. That's democracy, apparently, as the media says we should ignore the laws Congress has passed. But Congress is clear on this. You face arrest for illegal work. You face arrest for document theft. You face arrest for failure to register, as required by law. You face arrest for evading or obstructing your removal. And you also face deportation at time and place of our choosing, including the total confiscation and forfeiture of all of your assets. Or you can choose to book a free flight and get a check and go home on your own terms with your possession very happily and live your life in your home country. I have time for 2 more questions.
Steven.
Are you frustrated or mad at the Supreme Court for keeping the TDA deportation stay in effect?
Well, the FBI released an assessment, as I'm sure you've seen, that not only is Nicaragua acting as an arm of the Maduro regime, but they're actively planning assassination plots on U.S. soil. This is horrifying and it's harrowing. This is a foreign terrorist organization operating in the direction and control of an adversarial foreign regime, and we hope and expect that we'll be allowed to remove these terrorists from our soil as quickly and expeditiously as possible. One last question.
Stephen, as a follow to that, like, you keep talking about your dissatisfaction with federal district court judges. Then after that, at what point will the administration accept a decision of the courts, even if it's not in its favor?
I don't understand what you're at.
At what
Like
point?
what? No, what is it?
Would you only accept a decision of a court if it's in the administration's
Well, then look at the example
favor?
I just given. Because of the Supreme Court's ruling, right, the administration, right, is operating under a TRO, a temporary restraining order, on the Alien Enemies Act for illegal alien foreign terrorists who are plotting on U.S. soil. Right, so that was a ruling that was issued that's in effect. I don't understand the question. I'll take one more second.
Question on a million deportations. Do you feel like you get a million deportations this year? You only had 139,000 so far.
I'll take these 2. Yes.
Can you
then
comment on
you.
Planned Parenthood sponsored today's playbook? I'm just curious how you feel about this.
No, I'm not shocked or surprised.
You want to hit a million deportations this year at least? You're at 139,000. Can you still hit a million this year?
Well, the rate of deportation is increasing every single day. Remember, we inherited a system that was completely shut down, that was completely broke. And now President Trump is working with the overwhelming backing and support of the American public to get that system operating at full speed and efficiency. And once we clear away some of these rogue district court injunctions, we'll be able to operate with an even greater degree of force and speed. And so I think we will vastly exceed that number, in addition to all of the self-deportations that are occurring and will continue to occur. And once we're able to begin applying these increasingly significant consequences financially and criminally for illegal aliens who choose to remain, we will see even faster and quicker voluntary departures from the United States. Bottom line is that the president is going to continue and expand and accelerate the effort to remove from our midst people who have no lawful right to be here, and we will do so without apology.